Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender in Europe, game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. I'm Dren 608. This is the Thousand Year Reich series. We are getting ready to go into April. We messed up the weather die roll. Cold zone should actually be severe, but we marked it as poor because I wasn't paying attention to where the die rolls fell. So, away we go. There's no declarations of war here. So we're just doing production. The Russians are up to 20, British are at 10, Germans are at 24 because 3 minus 15 is 12, so he's at 24. And he gives one to the Finns again. And we're in strategic warfare phase here against the Soviets. He's +2, I'm +3. Did he have... He does have submarines now. So he goes ahead and plays him against the Soviets. He rolls a 3. And I rolled a 6, +3 is a 9. Half to 4.5 becomes a 5. So I actually chipped him another factory. Why didn't we move his factory? There it is. Then we're up to 5 to 2. I go ahead and throw the Ultra. He rolls a 6, half down to a 3, and I couldn't roll good enough. So he got back his factory in the British. British should actually be at 5. I missed that last time. I have them at 6, so not only am I did badly and got England conquered, but I can't even keep track of the proper rules. Then I rolled a 6 for my Ultra as well. So away we go into strategic movement. I don't know where he's moving to. Picked that guy up and moved him up to Königsberg and said, wait a minute. If I do that, I can't replenish him. So instead of that, he moved the guy that was in Hamburg and threw him in Copenhagen. There was no strategic movement for the west and in the east. Did I move anything? No, I didn't. So he's just attacking here. Now, he had him attacking in poor weather, which is not what it should be. This should actually be severe, so he's going to get some attacks in that he shouldn't get. I throw a tank, he threw his airplane, so he was 2, 3, 4, minus 3, so he's +1, and I'm +1. Should be +1 to +1. And he throws the Italian tanks to make it +2. He rolled a 6, +2 is an 8, and I rolled a 4, so I retreated. I retreated there so I wouldn't be isolated, but that guy's still pretty much dead once he gets fair weather. Then he does his attack here, 3, 4, 5, plus an airplane will be 6. We have an air combat first, so he should be at 0, and I should be at -2. Okay, he was 3, 4, 5, -1, 2, 3. Good weather, woods, and river. That's why he's starting off as 2 there. We go into that, we do an air combat. He's at 0, I'm at -2. He rolls a 4, I roll a 2, so I take 2 sorties. He takes 1, we each get an extra +1 in there. And I said that's going to have to be good enough. He rolled a 5, I rolled a 2, so I retreated. So he takes it with the armor. Then he does this attack at Ekastron. He's +2, plus the Italian is 3. He's going to throw in an airplane. I don't know if I threw a tank in here or not. Yeah, I throw a tank in. He throws in an airplane, so he's 2, 3, 4, -3. So he's at +1, and I'm at +1. He rolled a 6, and I rolled a 6. 5 + 1 each. So that helped hold that. Then, of course, the remaining's in the armor at 3, 4, -1, so he's at +3. Zero. We go to combat commitment. I think I chose not to commit. And he rolled a 6, and I rolled a 2, so at least I didn't get flipped. Then he moves this armor in so that he can take Granzi next turn. I think he had him go ahead and attack in Granzi. Rolled a 4. I rolled a 6, so I stopped him. And then he does his -2 to 0. He got a 1. I rolled a 5. And he attacked there. And where else did he attack? Attacking somewhere else. Oh, he threw an airplane in there, so he's +1 to my 0. And I rolled a 2, 4 to a 2, so I had to retreat. He took that. Trying to figure out where I should go, and I ended up going there to keep Baton from being isolated, and he moved that infantry up to hold the line. And then, of course, he has the Finns come in. This Finn gets the heck out of the way. German moves up so that he's 2 + 1 is 3. He will throw, then before he resolves, he goes ahead and moves a German aircraft up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I threw my tanks, he threw ground support, tanks, and his airplane. So he's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -1, 2, because of the poor weather. It's +4 to my +1. He rolls an 8. I roll 3, so I flipped and retreated. He takes Viborgs, which would cost me a factory, and it also cost me 2 will. So I'm down to 10 will now. And then he has this attack, get the heck out of Dodge. Has this Yugoslav. Move up here. This Yugoslav moves up there to hold the river, I guess. This Turk goes on a walk. He's going down towards to garrison Kuwait, I think. And then he's done. He does his supply of his 2 units out of Beirut. And I started to think I should run supply here, but then I figured out it was poor weather and I didn't have a chance. So and then I think I just did the American supply because I really didn't have anything I could do. So now we're in the Soviets. They moved this guy back to the semi-fortress square. It's -2 to attack that space, and then I'll flip him over, so he'll have to come with, you know, the kitchen sink again to try and get me, because he'll have to get a DD result. And then I can't remember if I did anything in the south. So I move this guy up first to there. Called for an assault. From those 3 hexes. Freaking what the heck? Let's try and mess with him a bit. I'm like nothing here, I think. Before I move this infantry up here, I brought the shock army into there. And then I flew the airplane in from there to... Flew this airplane in because I'd have more sorties that way. And then I attacked. And we fought an air combat. Each took a sortie. I picked the wrong airplane. He said he was using the one in the north. And then my attacking die roll is a net 0 because I'm 1, 2, 3 minus 1 for the ridge, 1 for the mountain, and 1 for the rough terrain. I rolled a 5, and he rolled a 5 plus 3, so he couldn't be hurt when I rolled a 5. I had to roll a 6, he had to roll a 1 to make that work, so that was pointless. And I'm not sure if I did much else. Nope, we're in the no supply phase. Replacements phase with the Axis. Takes down his airplanes. So his convoys. Italian air, German air. And I'm just doing the replacements for the West. I'm just getting my convoys down to zeros. And the American fleet. And the Russians flip over that shock army that they moved into Tiflis. And I think they're going to take down their airplanes here. And I took the infantry unit that was up here in the restricted zone, up here underneath this airplane that I had moved back, and the infantry unit that's in Akastron, and I said, you both are now becoming the 2nd Guards Army. So it's a little bit tougher to take Akastron. And then we go to, he builds an infantry unit in Kiel. No diplomacy, we're to end of turn phase, so we're just getting stuff off the tracks. Russians getting back their tanks. And then we both got a factory. The British and the Russians each picked up a factory. And then I have to roll for the United States stuff. So we'll go up to the onboard turn track, grab the US stuff out. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. I roll a 3, a 6, 2, 6, and a 4. Again, ridiculously high number of high numbers. So the convoy comes in 3, the fleet comes in 6, the infantry unit comes in 2, the bomber comes in 6, and in this, the most important piece that I really wanted to have a 1 or a 2 comes in 4 turns, the surprise attack marker. So he doesn't have any worries about me invading any place anytime soon. And next up's going to be the weather. He rolls a 4, 5, and a 6. So we go to the turn track, or to the player aid card. We are moving into May, so a 4 is poor. And then a 5 is poor. And then a 6 is poor as well. So poor across the board. So this is going to be a relatively quick turn. There'll be a few minor things that go on, I think. We get into the economies, and just have that up while we move the counters around. British are now up to 12. And the Russians are at 6 plus 2 is 8, 9, 10. So they're still at 20. And this is the strategic warfare, but we're all out of counters to play both sides. The British and the American and the Soviets. So he rolls an 8, of course. He rolls an 8. I rolled an 8, so at least I matched him, but so he didn't. He should get a factory back here. And then he's at 5 to 2. He rolls a 6. I roll a 7, so I get another one back to the British. Again, that should be one more further down, but. And the Germans are going to be back at full next turn. So he gets, since he flipped this guy here in Königsberg last turn. No, he didn't flip him, so he just decided to go ahead and move him anyway. I went and moved the low supply guy up from Narvik and put him on the road from Sundeval to Trondheim, because it's a long walk through Narvik to come down the coast, but it's a short walk from the border to Trondheim. I needed to have something in the way. I didn't want him to force the American fleet to go away. And the Soviet took him that was sitting on the road to Archangel and went ahead and put him over here, because the Germans are breaking through across the sphere and are going to just come running up the road, and I needed to slow them down. So now we're into Axis operations. So he does his attack here on the 12th. He's 3 plus 1 for the infantry is 4. I think we go to the combat commitment. We both throw in airplanes. I throw in a tank. We do an air combat here real quick. He ends up with a 2, so we both take a sortie. And then we go calculate the combat. So I'm at 2. He's at 3, 4, 5. Minus 2. Should get 3. 3 to 2. He rolls a 6. I roll a 4. So I'm retreated anyway. He moves the Panzer up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 7, 8, 9, 10. He attacks there. This airplane moves up 1 so that he can attack me again. We're going into, he's 3 minus 2, so he's starting off at a plus 1. And I go ahead and throw in the airplane and the tanks. And then we should be plus 2 to, this is the airplane fight. Didn't amount to anything. And then we both plus 2 to plus 2. He rolls a 6. Plus 2 is an 8. Thank God I rolled high. I was just sure I was just going to lose Vologda on top of it all. But it didn't, so. And then this airplane goes after that airplane. He rolled a 2, I rolled a net 1, so we each took 1. Then he did again. He's now at minus 1. Oh, now he's attacking. He figured it wasn't worth the fight, because I was only going to add plus 1 to the... Sorry about that. He's only going to add 1 plus 1 to the Granzi attack, so he says, let's try it. So he's got a Panzer, which is worth 3, and another Panzer adding 2, so that's 5, minus 2 for the weather in the city. So he's at plus 3 to my plus 1. We go into combat commitment. We throw in airplanes. So we're both, take no Earthshack die rolls, so just each add a sortie. We're both in, so I'm now plus 2, and he's plus 4. Rolls a 4 plus 2 is a 6. I roll a 6 plus 2 is an 8. So now he's coming back after my airplanes. I think. Yeah. Then he goes and says, enough of that, I'm going to make sure I get a shot at Akastron. So I throw in my tanks, he throws in the Italian tanks, the German tanks, and an airplane. So he's got 3, 4, 5, 6, minus 2, 3. He's plus 3 to my plus 2. He attacks and he rolls a 6. Plus 3 is a 9. I can't match that, so I'm retreated into the Russia box. And he chooses not to take the city, instead takes it with the Yugoslavs so that he can do the garrisoning thing. So there's another 2 will points, so I'm down to 8. Then he flies the Italian air down here for 2 sorties, and he moves the Finn in to block me into that river so I can't go anywhere. And he has the Turks attack here on the 5th. He's going to be in the primary, so he's -2 +1. Starts off at -1. Oh, I think he's doing the airplanes first. That's what he's doing. Goes ahead and moves that Turk down towards Kuwait. Excuse me. Just convoy back to Kiel. And now he's just doing his supply. And puts the low slide back on the guy in Tripoli. And the guy in Viborg goes to slow supply because he doesn't have a convoy. I move Force H and Home Fleet each into North America box. I have the convoy move the 9th into the Arabian Sea and then move back into the Indian Ocean. Then I do my supply. And we're into the Soviets, I think. So, I go ahead and move the shock army up. And we both attack here, the Turk. So I was a 1 for the shock. I was 1 for this guy. He's the primary right here. So he's 0, and then the shock army is +2, and then -2. So I should be at 0. Why am I at -1? I should be at 0. See, I screwed up again. Once again, not paying attention. Brought the airplane out, brought a guards unit in that had been retreated, and I don't think I did much else. That was it. I've got a couple units to build, and then a whole lot of airplanes to try and bring back down. That's why I hung on to so many points that I hung on to. Because this is May, and it's likely he's going to get fair weather in June. So, trying to make the best defense I can. We're doing replacements now. The Germans are just backing through it. Do the Allies. Reset all my stuff. And the Soviets go ahead and do all their airplanes. And got to the Soviet mobilization phase. They built a guy in Archangel and one in the Russia box. And there's no diplomacy. We're at end of turn phase. More stuff's coming. It's June. Bad things happen all over the place. So stuff that comes in gets his tanks and then his economic reforms. So he's the first economic reform, this is a rewrite of the rule. First economic reform goes 6 turns out, and every time he takes it off now, it'll go 4. So he'll get a second one in December, and then he'll get 1 in April, 1 in August, and 1 in December. So he'll get 3 in 43, 3 in 44, and another one in 45 plus the one he's got. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9. So by April of 45, he'll have 9 factories. So even if you've taken out, all of his factory count and cut him down, captured a few and taken him down to below 10, he still will have 18 production points, which I have found in the end game makes it much more challenging to try and take out the Germans. And in my case, I have to take every city because he has so much willpower. I can't kill enough armies fast enough. So he's got an extra factory involved. I still have to take my Soviets. I get a partisans, another upgrade, and I have an armored unit to build. Yay. And then we're in June. So next up will be the weather die roll, which is a 1-3-2. I couldn't ask for worse. Because if you look at the thing in June, we were all in poor. So we're on the poor line. A 1 is fair. A 3 is fair. a 2 is fair. Fair everywhere. So not only will he have fair in June, but he's going to have 3 more fair turns after that. So he's got 4 fair weather turns in a row. Admittedly, there should have been a severe in April, so, but that's the way it goes. And that's the end of our log file. So that's the end of May 1942. So we did, we did April and May of 42. That's the third Thousand Year Reich, Thousand Year Reich series here. I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe and hit the like button. The like button's important because that keeps this algorithms in YouTube keeping this near the top of search engines. So when people are looking for these, they'll find them. As always, until we meet again, stay safe and bye-bye.